What really happened to Putin's private military leader? Today we delve into the mystery surrounding Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner mercenary group. In the heart of Russia, unrest has been rumbling. Private military companies have been on the rise, and one such group, the Wagner mercenary group, has been particularly conspicuous. These companies, known as special enterprises, are Putin's response to potential uprisings like the recent mutiny by the very same Wagner group. The invasion of Ukraine has further complicated the situation, with Russia reasserting itself as an empire and crushing civil society, causing a ripple of unease across the globe. Amidst all this emerges a figure of intrigue, Yevgeny Prigozhin. Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner mercenary group, has become a significant player in this volatile landscape. His methods, brutal and eerily reminiscent of a bleak chapter in Soviet history, have made him a force to be reckoned with. But even as Putin's rule seemed unshakable, faint cracks began to appear, and one of them bore the name Yevgeny Prigozhin. In the midst of the political turmoil, a failed mutiny led by the Wagner group under Prigozhin's leadership sent shockwaves through Russia. This group, a private military company, had been spearheading the slow advances in Ukraine's Donbas region. Known for their brutal and ruthless methods, the Wagner group had become a formidable force under Prigozhin's command. However, the tides of power quickly shifted. Prigozhin grew critical of the Kremlin and Russia's military leadership, particularly over their actions in Ukraine. This criticism, coming from within Putin's own circles, was akin to a spark in a powder keg. The Wagner group, under Prigozhin's command, dared to challenge Russia's military leadership and launched a mutiny that was destined to fail. The failure of this mutiny was a turning point. It exposed the cracks in the seemingly invincible facade of Putin's regime. It revealed the vulnerabilities, the dissent, and the potential for revolt within the very forces that were meant to protect and uphold the regime. The aftermath of the failed mutiny was swift and decisive. Prigozhin, once a trusted ally of Putin, was quickly exiled to Belarus. The man who had led Putin's private military, who had once held substantial power and influence, was cast out. His standing with the Russian military leadership and Putin himself thrown into uncertainty. This exile marked a significant fall from grace for Prigozhin. From being at the helm of the formidable Wagner group to being exiled to Belarus, his journey was a testament to the volatile nature of power and politics in Putin's Russia. Prigozhin, once Putin's private military leader, found himself on uncertain ground, his future as murky as the political landscape he was navigating. In a surprising twist, Prigozhin resurfaced in a video from Africa where the Wagner group was known to be active. The world was left to wonder, had he been hiding in plain sight all this time? Or was this a strategic move, a calculated play in the grand chessboard of international politics? The video sparked a flurry of speculation about Prigozhin's relationship with Putin and the Russian military leadership. Theories abounded. Some suggested that Prigozhin's return was a power play, a bold statement to Putin and the world that he was back and not to be underestimated. Others posited that he had brokered a deal with Putin, trading his loyalty in return for protection. However, the truth, as it often does, remained shrouded in mystery. But let's not forget the other players in this high-stakes game. The Wagner group was still very much active in Africa, selling their military services to the highest bidder. Prigozhin's reappearance raised questions about the group's future. Would he reassume command? Or had the failed mutiny in Russia irrevocably damaged his standing within the organization? Meanwhile, the Russian military leadership was watching closely. Prigozhin had been a thorn in their side, a rogue element within an already complex and volatile situation. His return to the public eye was sure to have stirred up some unease within the Kremlin's corridors of power. And then there was the question of Putin himself. The Russian president had been forming his own private armies, a countermove to protect himself from potential uprisings. Was Prigozhin's return part of Putin's plan? Or was it an unexpected development that would force the Russian leader to reassess his strategy? Prigozhin's return, however, was about to be overshadowed by an event that would throw his fate into even greater uncertainty. The stage was set for a dramatic turn of events, one that would add yet another layer of intrigue to this already complex narrative. But that, dear listeners, is a story for another scene. A plane crash in the Tver region near Moscow resulted in the death of all 10 people on board. Among the passengers was reportedly Yevgeny Prigozhin. The details surrounding the crash remain shrouded in mystery, sparking a wave of speculation about Prigozhin's fate. The leader of the Wagner mercenary group, the man known as Putin's private military leader, was believed to have been on that ill-fated flight. Prigozhin had been a critic of the Kremlin and Russian military leadership over their actions in Ukraine. His outspokenness had earned him both notoriety and enemies. But it wasn't just the crash that ignited rumors. Prigozhin's recent past was equally as enigmatic. He had disappeared from the public eye, exiled to Belarus following a failed mutiny against Russia's military leadership. Then, out of the blue, he resurfaced in a video from Africa, where Wagner had been operating. The sudden plane crash, the secrecy, the timing, all these elements stirred a whirlwind of questions. Was it an accident or was it an act of revenge? If Prigozhin is indeed dead, what does this mean for the future of Wagner and the Russian political landscape? The answers remain as elusive as the man himself. With Prigozhin's fate hanging in the balance, the future of Wagner and Russia's political landscape seems equally uncertain. Yevgeny Prigozhin's death has the potential to cause waves that ripple far and wide, shaking the foundations of Wagner and the political machinations within Russia. Wagner, once led by the iron fist of Prigozhin, now finds itself in uncharted waters. The absence of its leader could create a power vacuum, leading to infighting, fragmentation, or even the dissolution of the group. Meanwhile, on the grand chessboard of Russian politics, Prigozhin's departure could shift the balance of power. His influence and connections were vast, and his absence opens the door for other players to make their move. Putin, who found in Prigozhin a useful, albeit troublesome ally, may now have to contend with new threats to his authority. But amidst this uncertainty, one thing remains clear: the game of power continues. Whether it's within the ranks of Wagner or the corridors of the Kremlin, the struggle for control persists. As we grapple with the question, what really happened to Putin's private military leader, it's clear that the answer is as complex as the man himself and the political world he moved in.